What is sin? What does it mean to sin? Why is sin such a big deal? And what are the consequences for sin? By the end of this teaching, you'll have a solid biblical definition of sin so that you can recognize it for what it really is. Romans chapter 3, verse 23, it says, "For all have sinned." Every single person that has ever existed and walked the face of this planet, every human being that ever will walk the face of this earth, will end up dealing with this thing called sin. Paul says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Here's what we need to know about sin and the reality of it. Sin is a spiritual disease that plagues humanity. It is lawless rebellion against God. In fact, 1 John 3 verse 4 says sin is lawlessness. It is rejection of God. It is violating his perfect law. It is rebelling against him. It is treason. But also, sin is a spiritual disease that plagues everybody, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's no cure until Jesus comes. The ultimate sin in the Bible is unbelief, which is to persistently rebel against God, rejecting him as king, according to Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7 through 19. And then we're told in the scriptures that the consequence for sin is death. Not only is sin a violation of God's law, not only is sin an ever-present reality and a spiritual disease that plagues our very soul, not only is sin treason against God and absolute rebellion and rejection, but the consequence for sin is death. See, when humanity sinned, we lost access to spiritual life. Our spirits became dead. Romans 6:23, Genesis 2:17 speaks of this. And real life, eternal life, is friendship with God, access to God, relationship with our Creator. That's what we lost when we chose to rebel against God. See, spiritual death primarily is separation from God. It's exile. We see in Genesis chapter 3, humanity was exiled from the tree of life, which symbolically represented the life-giving presence of God. So Luke 15:24, Isaiah 59:2, Ephesians 2 speaks of this reality. And the reason that sin is as bad as it is and why it results in separation from God with no way back, why sin severs us from God entirely, is because Psalm chapter 5 verse 4 teaches evil, sin, darkness cannot coexist with God. Sin cannot dwell in the presence of God. It can't exist in proximity to God because God's glory and his radiant goodness absolutely annihilates it. The same way that if you would get too close to the sun, you would get burned up. There are some things that are not compatible with other things, and sin is not compatible with the goodness, glory, and presence of God. That's why sin has to be dealt with, and the consequences for sin have to be dealt with if we want to be restored back to God and have a relationship with the one who is life for our very spirits and souls. This is the truth about sin. If you want the scriptures and the notes for this teaching, you can find those in the full free course for new believers on our website under session 4, What is Sin? Make sure that you review the scriptures and the notes before the next session and share this with anyone who might benefit from this Spiritual Foundations course. And be sure to visit AboveReproachMinistry.com for everything about this online ministry. I'll see you in the next video where we address the question, what is God's law?